We'll be continuing our discussion on matrices. The first one is matrix transpose. The transpose of a matrix A is denoted by A raised to the power of capital T is an n cross m matrix where we have switched the rows and columns. So as you can see here, I have a matrix which has two rows. The first row entries are 3 and 4. The second row entries are 2 and 1. The transpose is we've just taken the row and placed it in the column. So 3 4 is now a column and 2 1 is the second column. So this is called as a transpose of the matrix. Conjugate transpose. Before we jump on the term conjugate, let us understand what exactly a conjugate stands for. So conjugate is formed by changing the sign between two terms in a binomial expression. So let's say if I have two terms in this single binomial expression, a plus b, so its conjugate will be a minus b. So we're just changing the sign. That is called as conjugate in simple mathematical terms. So now conjugate transpose, it's nothing when you just simply do a conjugate and then when you transpose a matrix, it is called as the conjugate transpose of a matrix. It's denoted with a star sign. Okay, let's take an example. This is my original matrix here. The entries are 2 plus 3i, 7 and so on. The complex conjugate, we just reverse the sign. So the sign is reversed in the binomial expression. Now you might wonder, this doesn't look like a binomial expression, but it actually is. So 0 plus I equals 0 minus I, which is minus I in this case. And all the signs for all the binomial expressions has been replaced. Quick note here, 0 minus I has become 0 plus I, which is I here. And now conjugate transpose, once we have taken the conjugate of the original matrix, we are just reversing the rows and the columns. So the whole row is now turned to a column entry and second row is turned to the second column entry. So this is a conjugate transpose. Matrix addition, we can add two matrix element by element operation. So like 4 is the entry on first row first column and 1 is the entry on first row first column. So we add the two. Similarly 8 and 0, 3 and 5, 7 and 2. So we're just individually adding all the entries on the same index. That's pretty much it for matrix addition. Matrix multiplication with scalar, we multiply the matrix units individually with the scalar values. So the 7's multiplied with 7, 1's multiplied 7, 2's multiplied with 7, and that's how you multiply a scalar with a matrix. The whole matrix is multiplied with the scalar value. Then comes matrix multiplication with a matrix itself. So from the first matrix we take the first row, and then from the second matrix we take the first column, and then we are supposed to multiply the two. Matrix multiplication is only possible when the number of values in the first row equals the number of values in the columns. So we have 1, 2, 3 entries in the first row and 1, 2, 3, 3 entries in the first column. Only then a matrix multiplication is possible. If I would have had, let's say, one more entry here, 4, so then these two matrices cannot be multiplied. To make a multiplication possible, we would need another entry here, let's say 40, and then we would have 4 entries here and then 4 entries here, and then we can multiply. But when I say 4 entries in the first row, it obviously means that it should have 4 entries at the second row as well. So it should be 6 here and something here as well. Okay. So that's pretty much it for matrix multiplication. Here 1's multiplied with 10, plus 2 is multiplied with 20, 3 is multiplied with 30, and then the addition is the value here. Similarly 1 multiplied with 11, and that's how a matrix multiplication is done. Some important properties of matrix: it is commutative in nature. So if you have two matrices A plus B, when you add them as B plus A, they're still the same. They are associative. So if you add A plus B together and then add it with C, will be equal to B plus C added and then added to A. If we have two scalars K, L, and we are supposed to multiply it with the matrix A, so then it will be similar to So you can multiply the scalar with the matrix and then multiply it with k, or you can multiply the two scalar values and then multiply it with the matrix itself. It will still be the same. Then scalar addition over the matrix is associative in nature. That means k a, so the scalar k when multiplied with a will be equal to the scalar value L multiplied with A, and then the addition will be the final value. So either you can just add and then multiply it with the matrix, or you can individually break them and then add them together. So those are the properties. Then comes inverse of a matrix. Before we understand inverse, let's just quickly understand what a reciprocal is. So a reciprocal of 2 will be 1 by 2, and then the 2 and 2 cancels and we get a 1. Similarly, in matrices, it's not possible to divide a matrix by itself to get an identity matrix. So what do? We multiply it with an inverse, and then it gives us an identity matrix. So when you multiply a matrix with its inverse, denoted with a -1 on top of the original matrix name, it gives you an identity matrix back. Now, inverse of a matrix is actually having two kinds: left inverse matrix and right inverse matrix. It's self-explanatory. When you say left inverse matrix, so if y is your original matrix and then x is the inverse of y, if it's on the left hand side, then it's called as left inverse matrix. If it's on the right hand side, it's called as the right inverse matrix. So x is the inverse of y in this case, and it's on the right hand side, so it's a right inverse matrix. A matrix is invertible if it has an inverse. So it can be left inversible or right inversible. It's said to be an invertible matrix. Calculating the inverse of a 2 cross 2 matrix, it's quite simple. What do? We first take the discriminant. So 3 multiplied by 8 minus 6 multiplied by 4, and then we switch the diagonal 1. So 3 and 8 are replaced to give 8 and 3, and then we change the signs of the second diagonal. So we just replace -4 and -6, and the value actually gives us the inverse of a 2 cross 2 matrix. Now obviously calculating the inverse of a 3 cross 3 matrix is a more tedious job in itself, and we will be discussing that in the next session. If you have any questions, any concerns, you can get in touch with me through my website, and I think that's pretty much it for this session.